If we have the expression 60 plus 4 divided by 2 squared multiplied by open parenthesis 4 minus 2 close parenthesis, then what is the correct answer of this question? Many people, when solving this question, first go for the addition between 60 and 4. And instead of this expression, they write 64 divided by 2 squared multiplied by open parenthesis 4 minus 2 close parenthesis. And the next step, they go for the exponent and write this expression as 64 divided by 4 multiplied by open parenthesis 4 minus 2 close parenthesis. Then they go for the division between 64 and 4. And instead of this expression, they write 16 multiplied by open parenthesis 4 minus 2 close parenthesis. And the final step, they go to the expression inside the parenthesis and write this expression as 16 multiplied by 2, which finally gives them the answer 32. However, this answer is actually incorrect. Also, some other people when solving this question first go for the expression inside the parenthesis because they believe parentheses have a higher priority than the other operations. So, instead of this expression, they write 60 plus 4 divided by 2 squared multiplied by 2. And the next step, they go for the exponent. And instead of this expression, they write 60 plus 4 divided by 4 multiplied by 2. Then they go for the multiplication between 4 and 2 because they think multiplication has priority over division. So they rewrite this expression as 60 plus 4 divided by 8. And the final step, they go for the division between 4 and 8 because they believe division has a higher priority than addition. So, instead of this expression, they write 60 plus 0.5, which finally gives them the answer 60.5. But that's definitely wrong. Alright, now let me show you how to solve this expression correctly. To solve this question, we must follow the PEMDAS rule. And this rule, P stands for parenthesis, E stands for exponent, M stands for multiplication, D stands for division, A stands for addition, and S stands for subtraction. As you can see on the screen, in this expression, first we have an addition sign, then a division sign, followed by an exponent, then a multiplication, and finally parentheses. According to the PEMDAS rule, first we go for the expression inside the parentheses because P or parentheses have the highest priority than the other operations. So, instead of this expression, we can write 60 plus 4 divided by 2 squared multiplied by 2. And the next step, we go for the exponent because in the PEMDAS rule, after parentheses, exponent has a higher priority than the other operations. So, we rewrite this expression as 60 plus 4 divided by 4 multiplied by 2. Then, we move on to the division and multiplication because these two operations have a higher priority than addition. However, it's really important to understand that multiplication and division have the same level of priority and we must perform these two operations from left to right. So, first we go for the division between 4 and 4 and write this expression as 60 plus 1 multiplied by 2. And the final step, we go for the multiplication between 1 and 2 because multiplication has a higher priority than addition. So, we rewrite this expression as 60 plus 2, which finally gives us the answer 62. Alright, now let's solve another math question together. What is the value of the expression 4 plus 5? Inside the parentheses, minus 4 squared multiplied by open parentheses 5 minus 3 close parentheses. Many people when solving this question go straight to the expression inside the first parenthesis and instead of this expression they write 9 minus 4 squared multiplied by open parenthesis 5 minus 3 close parenthesis. And the next step, they go for the exponent. And instead of this expression, they write 9 minus 16 multiplied by open parenthesis 5 minus 3 close parenthesis. Then they go for the subtraction between 9 and 16 and rewrite this expression as negative 7 multiplied by open parenthesis 5 minus 3 close parenthesis. And the final step, they go to the expression inside the parenthesis and instead of this expression, they write negative 7 multiplied by 2, which finally gives them the answer negative 14. But it's not the correct answer to this question. To solve this question, we must follow a rule that is called PEMDAS. As you can see on the screen, in this expression, first we have parentheses, then a subtraction sign, followed by an exponent, then a multiplication, and finally another parenthesis. According to the PEMDAS rule, first we go for the expression inside the parentheses, because P or parentheses have the highest priority than the other operations. So, instead of this expression, we can write 9 minus 4 squared multiplied by 2. And the next step, we go for the exponent. Because in the PEMDAS rule, after parentheses, exponent has the highest priority than the other operations. So, we rewrite this expression as 9 minus 16 multiplied by 2. And the final step, we go for the multiplication between 16 and 2 because multiplication has a higher priority than subtraction. So, we rewrite this expression as 9 minus 32, which finally gives us the answer negative 23. Okay, now let's solve the final math question together. What is the value of the expression 6 squared plus 6 divided by 2 multiplied by 3? Many people, when solving this question, first go for the exponent. And instead of this expression, they write 36 plus 6 divided by 2 multiplied by 3. And the next step, they go for the addition between 36 and 6 and write this expression as 42 divided by 2 multiplied by 3. And the final step, they go for the division between 42 and 2. And instead of this expression, they write 21 multiplied by 3, which finally gives them the answer 63. However, this answer is actually incorrect. Also, some other people, when solving this question, again go straight to the exponent. And instead of this expression, they write 36 plus 6 divided by 2 multiplied by 3. And the next step, they go for the multiplication between 2 and 3 because they think multiplication has a higher priority than division. So, they rewrite this expression as 36 plus 6 divided by 6. Then, they go for the division between 6 and 6 because they think division has priority over addition. So, instead of this expression, they write 36 plus 1, which finally gives them the answer 37. However, that's definitely wrong. To solve this question, we must follow the order of operations step by step from top to bottom. As you can see on the screen, in this expression, first we have an exponent, then an addition sign, followed by a division, and finally a multiplication. According to the PEMDAS rule, first we go for the exponent, because in this expression, exponent has a higher priority than the other operation. So, we rewrite this expression as 36 plus 6 divided by 2 multiplied by 3. In the next step, we go to the division and multiplication, because multiplication and division have a higher priority than addition. However, it's really important to understand that multiplication and division are at the same level of precedence, and we must perform these two operations from left to right. So, first we go for the division between 6 and 2, and write this expression as 36 plus 3 multiplied by 3. And the final step, we go for the multiplication between 3 and 3, because multiplication has a higher priority than addition. So we rewrite this equation as 36 plus 9, which finally gives us the answer 45.